Okay, we want to graph this equation, and it's nonlinear, meaning that there's something in there besides just x and y. Okay, a linear equation just has x and y, no fancy stuff. There's fancy stuff here. There's a cubic. Now, I could look at this and I can tell you what this graph looks like without doing any work. Now, that's not to make you go, oh, I can't do that. It's to tell you what cool things you'll learn by the end of the class, okay? So you will eventually do that. But for now, and honestly, anytime you're not sure what to do with the graph, you start plotting points. So that's what we're going to do here. We are going to make an x, y chart, and we're going to pick it. You get to pick whatever you want for x. Here's the thing. Don't make your life miserable. Couple of rules. You want some negative, you want positive, and you usually want 0. Okay, these are kind of your standard things. Since this is nonlinear, I'm going to do 5 points. If it was linear, 3 is really enough, but nonlinear, I want at least 5. So I'm going to do -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. And again, really, you can pick whatever you want. If you decide you want to use a -3, the big thing is the cubics are going to get big, so take that into account. I said this in the notes, but make your job easier. If you see a 1/5, make them divisible by 5. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each variable, so this first one, -2, and so I'm going to do -2 to the third plus 4. And I'm just going to repeatedly do this for each one. So the -2 to the third, this means -2 times -2 times -2. Now I'm going to also show you how to do this on your calculator, just kind of as a review. You probably already know. And of course, I didn't think ahead and I didn't have my calculator up. I've got a TI here. This is the same on all of the ones. It doesn't really matter what you use. So I'm going to do -2, and this caret is to the exponent to the third, okay? Couple of things. The parentheses, they're mandatory. Do not forget them, okay? So it's -8, and the reason they're mandatory is I'm going to show you something. -2 to the fourth and -2 to the fourth. These are different answers, okay? Mandatory. And now, when I come over here, how do I know I have parentheses? Well, because all of x is to the third. So that means anything that goes in there is to the parentheses. So when you're inserting for a variable, they always come in with parentheses. Okay, so that's just kind of some things. That's probably one of the most common mistakes I see, and it's simply forgetting to translate that. You get it lost and you lose. What happens is, because you can see right here what's going to happen, you're going to lose signs. Now in this case, I'm going to be honest, -2 to the third and parentheses -2 to the third is the same answer, but it is not if it's an even exponent. So this is -8 plus 4, so -4. Then I'm going to do the same thing down here, -1 to the third plus 4, which is -1 plus 4, which is 3. Okay, then I'm going to put in 0. So this is 0 to the third plus 4, which is going to be 0 plus 4, so that's 4. This is 1 to the third plus 4, which is 5. 2 to the third plus 4 is 8 plus 4, which is 12. Okay, so that's going to give me my points. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back. I'm going to make, come down here. I'm going to make an XY chart. Okay, so here's X, here's Y, and I'm going to start plotting points. And I probably should have written these down somewhere. Okay, so my first one is -2, -4. Oh, where did I? Okay, I'm glad it's back. I don't know. Okay, so -2, -4. Okay, so there's my first point. Actually, okay, I'm going to actually do something because it's going to be easier than going back and forth. And this is more about my ease of going between screens and not driving myself nuts. Okay. So, -2. I swear. I probably just put it somewhere on the screen I was on. -2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. See if I can stay here. -1, 3. So, -1. Now I'm +3. 1, 2, 3. 0, 4. Okay, so I'm right there. Then I'm at 1, 5. Yeah, 3, 4, 5. So right there. And then I'm at 2, 12. So that's 1, 2, 3. Okay, I lost that one. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. Now, this is going to look like this. You're filling into your best of your abilities. I knew that it looked like kind of that SE shape, so that helped. But fill them in. They're usually curves, and you're just making the best fit line. Okay. And oftentimes in MathMyLab, you're going to have choices. It's going to help you through that. But you're just trying to get that best fit of the line. If you're not sure what's going on, you're like, oh man, this is a big jump. I'm not sure what's happening. Come back in here and put in 1.5. So you can always add more points if you're not sure what's going on at a specific point. Don't feel like you're confined to 5. And sometimes based on what the graph's doing, you're like, oh, there's a lot going on out there. I want to look at more in this chunk. And once you get those first 5 on, you can decide if you need more or not. And it really just depends on the graph itself. And as I said, there's about 5 basic graphs. We're going to learn how to identify them, what they look like. That's going to help with this because once you know that all cubics have this S shape, it's a lot easier to fill in there. And we're not going to do a lot of these right now. The gist of what I want you to get out of this section with the nonlinear. So the linear, okay, we're going to do a ton of linear. One of the main things I want you to walk out of this class with is to be able to graph a linear line. And we're going to learn a couple different ways to graph a linear line. But the nonlinears, at this point, I just want you to, the takeaway I want you to have is that you can graph anything by throwing points at it. And in general, you're not sure what to do, throwing points is a good solution to start with. It's even a good solution for word problems. So that's kind of the takeaway at this point I want you to get from problems like this is, okay, I can just pick points and see what happens. I'm going to experiment.